recording, and how's it going? This is Dan, Tac Chat number 33. Hopefully this comes out okay because I don't have a. I can put this on. Let's see if this works. Might sound a little bit better if I have on a headset. And if I plug it in. Test. Okay. That probably sounds a little bit better. I'm going to guess. We'll figure it out. So anyways, this is Tac Chat number 33. I'm Dan, your host. I'm back on YouTube. My new YouTube name is Spiritual Anarchist Daniel Arnold instead of Dan Arnold. I'm going to try and keep things a little more low key this time around, so they don't boot me off. I want to be able to at least get news out on there. I have a new website also that I'm getting info put up on. It's called spiritualanarchist93.com. That's spiritualanarchist93.com. That's the website. There's going to be all my content's going to be up there. I've already put up some articles and some links to some other content creators who interviewed me. I think are really great people. Like I keep telling everybody, it's really awesome meeting all these cool people, but I wish I didn't have to know any of them. And that's only because of those circumstances, where everyone's getting to know each other because of what's going on in the world. So I want to talk about, before I get to what I want to talk about today, I recently also spoke for a online summit that's coming up. Cory Endrulat. I'm probably slaughtering it, man. But he's of the One Great Work Network. He's got a website called Nature is the Answer. And it was called the End of Slavery Summit. I'm going to have links to that in the comments or in the description below. You see this on YouTube, man, hit like. I'm going to try to establish some type of following on there. I'm not monetizing my page. If you go to my website, spiritualanarchist93.com, I have my book Rise from Darkness as a free PDF. Please check it out. There's good information in there with information that will lead you to other researchers, people who really inspired me, and they have a lot of knowledge about what's going on in the world right now. So, which brings me to one of the things I want to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the main thing I want to talk about today. A lot of times I get up on here and I talk about natural law, and I talk about things where, objective morality and what some people would consider to be idealism. And what I'm going to talk about today is going to be what some people, I'm going to give some actionable advice on some stuff that I really, really know about. If you have any interactions with border followers on how to not get murdered, I mean, really, that's what it's going to be boiling down to, because you have to understand something. Every involuntary encounter that you have with any type of law enforcement officer, under most jurisdiction laws, they have the right to gain your compliance through any force needed, up into and including what they deem to be deadly force, which we know is violence. So what I'm going to be today is I want to predicate everything that I'm going to say in the next 20, 30 minutes, however long it takes, that this isn't going to be a talk about, or a talk coming from a space of optimistic talk or pessimistic talk. It's definitely not going to be idealistic talk. It's just going to be realistic talk of what we have to deal with as far as the laws that govern the land as of right now, so you don't end up dead needlessly. Okay, because I know a lot of people are waking up. The more and more people wake up, the angrier many people get. And it doesn't matter if you're just starting to wake up or you've been awake for a long time and you're like completely awakened and spiritually consciously awakened, and you're doesn't matter if you're any place in between. People are getting fed up with all this. More and more people are waking up, which is good. Okay, more and more people are waking up, which is good. But if I talk to, and as far as order followers are concerned, you're going to deal with a couple of types of order followers. I'm going to give the two main types that you're going to deal with. And one of them is the kind that I was before, when I had all those internal conflicts going on, and I was, I got out of it. There's a lot of them out there that are at that threshold right now. A lot. And you guys, I ain't against you. I'm for you. I know what kind of conflict. I know you hate the fucking job. Let's be honest. How many of you waiting for retirement? Okay. I'm not trying to, talk shit against you. We took the oath to protect and serve, and that's the only part we paid attention to. And now you're being given orders to do all kinds of other bullshit. Okay, and I'm going to talk about what happened down in Texas. I'm going to get into that too. But there's going to be two types of officers you're going to deal with. One of them is going to be the kind that I used to be, that was light-handed. The one that you don't have to worry about that one as much with the advice I'm going to give you today. The one you got to be careful of is the one that's kind of intoxicated with their authority. Okay, they're usually between 21 and 34, let's just say, and they're still intoxicated with their authority. They're still trying to make a name for themselves or whatever. And I should have turned off my phone. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Boy, I've been getting a lot of spam calls. I'm going to silence my phone completely, which I should have done. I apologize for that. When you got kids, it's good to stay connected while they haven't done a fake internet outage or anything. Do not disturb. All right, so where was I? Oh, it's the second kind you're going to have to worry about. The second kind you're going to have to worry about is that one that's still trying to make a name for themselves, and don't you dare do anything to question their authority or activate their ego. Now, with that being said, we know that there is no such authority that's bestowed upon them. There is no such authority in creation. Okay. And I'm hoping I can wake up more and more officers to this fact. But unless you want to end up in a shootout or on the side of the road murdered or having done something that causes you to be in prison for the rest of your life, what I'm giving you is just some actionable advice in the society we currently live in, which is the freest society in the world, which isn't saying very much because right now we kind of are all slaves to one degree or another. Getting people to realize that is how we're going to free ourselves and get the chains that bind us off of us once and for all. But before I get to that, there's two types of encounters you're going to have with police officers. One of them is a voluntary encounter, and they're going to come up to you, ask you questions. The other is going to be considered an involuntary encounter. Okay, every encounter that I would have with a police officer, anyone questioning me of any level, doesn't matter if it's state, government, county, doesn't matter. First question you're not going to get nowhere by activating their ego. Your buddy ego's with them. There's all kinds of shit you're going to say that can hurt you, and nothing that's going to help you. That's why they say when many people tell you just do this, and you can do that if you like. I'm not saying not to do that, but what I would do is I would simply ask. You could say officer if you want. You can call them by their name if you want, or you don't have to address them in any manner other than, is this a voluntary encounter? If they keep talking, they just want to ask you any questions, and they're saying, I'm just trying to ask you questions. I'm not, trying to, is this a voluntary encounter? He keeps talking. She keep trying to talk to you. If they're not answering you, then you can say, I don't talk to police officers unless it's an involuntary encounter. And even then I won't talk to you. But if it's a voluntary encounter, you could say, have a nice day, stay safe, whatever. Or if it's a voluntary encounter, you could simply be like, turn around and walk away. Do it in the politest way possible because you want to keep it a voluntary encounter and have them not make some shit up, right? If they tell you it's an involuntary encounter because you are being questioned or you're being stopped or whatever, you have a right to film them. Again, do so in coming from a space of being calm. Don't activate their egos. Don't let your ego get activated. And the reason I say that is because I know there's a lot of anger. It's really easy to do something that you're going to regret. And this is just to stay safe. There's going to come a time where you don't have to worry about that. You're not going to, with what's coming up in the world, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that, a whole lot longer. But I want you to just be cautious of that. And then if they do want to question you, of course, you have the right to remain silent, and you should really, really exercise that right. Okay. From traffic stops, you have a right to film them. They have to have a reasonable suspicion that probable cause that pulled you over. If they ask you why, do you know why I pulled you over? No, you can just go, no. It depends what kind of attitude they're going to take with you. Sometimes they try to come at you hard, sometimes they don't. The less you say, the better. Okay. But I don't want you to activate their egos, because if you activate their egos, you're going to end up in more trouble than you need to end up in. Don't end up getting murdered because they're stressed out. Okay. There's a lot of them that were like me. If you run into one of those guys, you're going to have to do a lot to activate their ego, because they don't want to really be messing with you. You probably won't run into too many like me, to be honest with you. I was kind of like an anarchist cop. Um, but you never know. You could be someplace where someone calls the police for something and you just happen to be there and they want to question you. If this is a voluntary encounter, or am I being held for questioning? I don't talk to the police. And if they keep talking to you, you say, okay, I assume this is a voluntary encounter. I'm gonna go ahead and leave. If they stop you, then it's not a voluntary encounter. I'm gonna go ahead and exercise my Fifth Amendment. We still got those rights. And then I would just shut up and exercise your Fifth Amendment. Don't resist at that point. There will come a time later on in the road where like I talked about before, is going to have some bite to it. That time's coming. They're not going to get this country. They're not getting us. That's why they got their fake alien invasion in their back fucking pocket. They're not getting us. Okay? We're too well armed. Which brings me to the next thing that I'm going to talk about real quick. The bullshit that went on in Texas. Okay, it fucking disgusted me. I know it disgusted a lot of guys out there who are still active cops, all talking shit about it, right? Let me tell you something. The more and more I see, well, first off, let me back up a second. I was on a couple of SRT teams. Even more so than that, officers now are trained to go directly to the threat and stop that threat as soon as possible. The old training used to be form a perimeter, wait for SWAT to get there. They realized too many people are getting murdered that way. The officers had to start getting trained in SWAT tactics to get in there and immediately engage, close with, and engage that threat and stop that threat. Okay. So there was officers in the school. They were actually inside the school, but not engaging the threat. In fact, they were actually stopping parents from going to where the shooting was going on. Now, we already know without saying that this is a false flag. But the question is, were children murdered or not? Don't know, because the whole thing's terrible. It doesn't matter if there weren't any murdered or not. The whole thing could be a scam, fake. The fact that they're even faking something like this is fucking horrific, much less if it happened. But there was no resource officer on duty. There was shooting going on. Officers were in the school, but not engaging a threat, but stopping others from engaging the threat. I've never heard of anything like this. Never. The more and more I hear about this ridiculousness, the more and more I'm led to believe that the whole thing is a fucking sham. One mother I seen on TV, I'm not too sure of her, okay? Um, I'll leave it at that. I'm definitely not sure of the news. So think what you will about that. What I want to explain from that type of a standpoint is, when we were trained in this, there's three type of speeds when you're entering any type of building for a hostage situation, or there's an enemy in that building. And those three speeds are search, raid, and rescue speed. Okay, search speed, raid speed, rescue speed. Search, raid, rescue. Search speed. Maybe there's a team of 4 of you guys going through this building. You're going about it methodically. You're very slowly, quietly creeping, clearing everything as you go, leaving nothing uncleared behind you. You don't know where the bad guys are at. Okay. This is going under the premise that you really are the good guys doing this, okay? But let's just pay attention to the tactic itself. That's that's search speed, okay? Raid speed. Raid speed is you have an idea. They don't know you're there yet, but you know where you're going. So you're moving a little bit faster. You're not clearing everything. You have an idea of where they're at, okay? That would be raid speed. That's like a medium speed. Then there's rescue speed. They know you're there. You know they're there and you know they're murdering people and you go rescue speed. That's like a fucking sprint, okay? Some people can shoot better than others. Some people are just better at that kind of stuff in real life than others. But most SWAT team guys, most Navy SEALs, most special ops teams they're at least Olympic athletes with guns. So the SWAT team had some training. Why weren't they going at rescue speed? Because they were following orders. See, in the 1980s, the good guys that were within the deep state war won it temporarily. But the enemies learned and their communications gotten better. Because the good guys almost lost it back then. So what happened in Texas, there's more and more of these events that are going to happen. Be ready for them. Don't let them get you triggered. Don't let them get you triggered. Keep yourself calm. The calmer you stay, the better off you're going to be when you have to actually respond to whatever's going to be going on. You know, when I think of those officers following orders, the sacred masculine in me really wants to look at these motherfuckers and say, hey, bros, we ever sell together? You're going to sit down when you pee. You feel me? But then that sacred feminine in me wants to reach out to him and say, if you want to be an oath keeper, you're not going to be able to be a job keeper also. So keep your oath, the one you thought you were taking. You disgusted a lot of fucking people for even playing along with this bullshit. But anyway, that was the advice I wanted to give you about if you get stopped by the police. You do have a right to remain silent. You should exercise that right. Remember to ask, is it a voluntary encounter? If it is voluntary, leave. If it's not voluntary, exercise that right to remain silent. You'll have to make a decision when your no is going to have more sting to it. I don't suggest doing something that's going to get you put in prison for the rest of your life or murdered, because you don't help your family, you don't help this cause, you don't help nothing by doing anything to get yourself taken out of the game, either by being imprisoned or murdered. So until complete open revolt starts, and that's not going to happen in this country right away. It's starting to happen. People are forming. We need to form uh, friendships, so we have multiple people to stay safe. More and more officers that I know aren't going to do anything. They're going to be once shit starts to break down, they're quitting. I think they're just waiting. It's not enough of them. God, it's not enough of them. It just isn't, because there's always fucking mercenaries out there willing to pull the fucking trigger. But you know what? You can't obfuscate these type of morals. These morals are objective. They're immutable. You can't obfuscate them. So just remember the two types you're going to deal with. There's ones that you're going to have voluntary encounters with. The guys that are like me, don't activate their egos. Um, it'd probably be hard to do so anyway, but why even try it? And then the other ones you definitely need to worry about, because they are still intoxicated on their so-called authority. Okay. Remember, that's authority given by the state under the laws we got to live in, under the land. We know it's not the authority that was given by the Creator. Okay. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to cover for Tac Chat number 33, man. I'm coming at you from my new place. I not too far from the city. I'm literally 3 miles from the city, from the inner city. But I'm just at a place that's feels like I'm out. Yeah, I'm in nature every day now. I'm out here grounding every day. So, my advice is to get out in nature, get barefoot, ground, get real sun, get some exercise, be preparing, have 5 months worth of food, have 5 months worth of water, have water filters, have, uh, solar powered batteries, have ways of starting fire, have ways to stay warm. I believe this is going to be a dark winter. Propane tanks are great, but be able to start a fire if you need to stay warm. Be prepared for 5 months of craziness because I think stuff's coming. It's getting stupider and stupider out there, man. Um, yeah, my mission is going to be to try to get through to order followers as much as I possibly can to step across the line and come over onto this side of things and to understand that, when you start talking to people about anarchy or anarchism and they start to understand what you're saying, they start to get what you mean by what true anarchism is. They still will say, they'll come at you like you're an idealist. So part of what I was saying today wasn't being an idealist, it was being a realist on how to deal with current circumstances and current laws, not to get yourself in trouble or dead. But there's that other part of me that says, yes, stay an idealist. Let's keep working towards anarchism. Little small pockets and form bigger pockets. Okay, we can do it eventually. There's hope. There wouldn't be so many people that are wakening up. There's something that's trying to waken up humanity for a while. So what it is exactly, I'm still trying to figure out. I'll find out. I'm looking into it. Okay. But in the meantime, you have to maintain a positive attitude as much as you possibly can, and not let things affect you so much. If I don't watch the news ever. I hate opening up my browser and seeing bullshit. I'm like, it gets me triggered, and I want to I do post crazy stuff on Facebook, but it's honest stuff. So I plan on doing that and continue doing that. I plan on making probably better, more well thought out podcasts, but I want to at least put my voice out there, put something out there for today. So I am an ex-order follower. My website, spiritualanarchist93.com. I'm back on YouTube, Spiritual Anarchist Dan Arnold. I'm on Rumble, Spiritual Anarchist Dan Arnold. I'm on, I've got my content up on, what's the other one besides Rumble? Odyssey. I'm working on getting it up. I got one video up on BitChute. So I'm slowly starting to work at this, and I've got friends who are helping me, and it's coming together. And I really wish the fuck it wasn't coming together. I wanted to write my book to help people back in 2018, but help people in a different way. I otherwise planned on having bonfires the rest of my retirement and doing jujitsu. Okay. But when I look at my kids, I want to know that I did something to try to help. And right now it's still talking time, but that time's starting to, I had a dream the other night, man. I had weird dreams. Okay. I've had some pretty powerful psychics tell me I'm clairaudient, right? And I'm like, oh, that's just great. So the ex-Marine, you're saying hears voices. That's just great. I like to call myself clairtarded because I hear, but I don't always listen. But I had a dream the other night, and all it was this fogginess. Couldn't really see on the outside, and there was like just a grandfather clock. And the pendulum was. Time is ticking down to where once the country sees what's going to be going on, more people are going to pull together. More and more people are awakening now. So all we need to do is we need to pull it together and keep our attitude and keep everything else together. Start making contact outside of doing this. Start making real life contact with people. Remember how Gandhi attempted to do it. Nonviolence is the way. Okay, make them look like the bad guys, because as soon as you come at them and give them any kind of excuse, there'll come a time where we're going to defend ourselves. But everybody will know we have a right to fucking do it. We've got too many mind control people out there that I'm not even worried about the ones that are so mind controlled that they really believe everything they're hearing. I'm more worried about the ones who are self-gaslighting themselves on purpose and they know better. Those are the ones we have to try to reach, in my opinion. Um, anyway, this is Tac Chat number 33. I wanted to throw something out there. This is my new scenery. I'll probably do plenty of them out here. It might rain, but this is my new scenery for right now. And I just kept this slide up here because it represents freedom. We need to undo these chains that have been binding all of humanity since the beginning of time. Okay, make the world great again for the first time. Stay safe, everyone. Stay healthy.
Stand and fight. Live by your heart. Always one more try.